I'm in Gary, Indiana. I've been to the Jackson's family home. Remember, they left like 45 years ago, maybe more. But I forgot exactly where it was. It's around here somewhere. Okay, yeah, what was that? The Jackson family house. I just saw the police, man. Maybe I should ask the police where the house is at. I've been over here years ago. I think this is the street. But the Jackson family house, you should come to Gary. And Gary, Indiana is majority African American. And when the town is majority African American and low income African American, it's not going to be good. In the sense that, you know, we African Americans, we Negroes, we blacks, we coloreds, we were brought here as slaves. Now, don't get me started with the whole history because it's complex. You know, 80% of black folks got some white bloodline in them through slavery or interracial marriage, miscegenation. I'm not saying that's bad or good. It is what it is. Okay, here's the Jackson house. I thought I was on the right street. And y'all should come by and see it. There it is. Michael Jackson. The Jackson family house. There it is. I'm just gonna roll by. People looking at me taking pictures. But tourists come all the time. They come from all over the world to see this little bitty house. Oh, I broke the law. Y'all saw me broken. That's on video. I didn't know it was a one-way street, y'all. There it is. The king of pop. Home of the king of pop. Michael Jackson was the man, wasn't he? The whole Jackson family. I've seen him perform many times. I should say many, maybe 3 times. At Mill Run and at the twice Mill Run Theater back in the day, and also at the Black Expo at the old amphitheater. Great show. I should go on Zillow. What's the other service? One of those internet services. I shouldn't brand name them. And you go on and see what it costs to buy a house here in Gary near the Jackson home. It's probably inexpensive, but the you know, you email me, I'll send you a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, look for me on social media. I post all kind of stuff. But when there's a large black population, usually it's going to be a lot of us do have money. You know that. There are black, you know, billionaires and multimillionaires and millionaires, but as a group, we don't really have a lot of wealth. And half of our wealth as a people was destroyed during the recession. You know, because most people's wealth is tied to their home, and if their home value goes down, here we are. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it goes and whatnot. That's the old church and the new church, evidently. But, you know, it is what it is, people. And you turn this, on one level, Gary's probably not going to be turned around. I mean, it could, but more than likely not. More than likely it's going to be into receivership at some point. I mean, Lake County, Indiana, or Mike Pence, the governor of Indiana, who's going to, you know, take over the state. You know, what's the guy named? Snyder. Mr. Snyder, the governor of Michigan. He's done that, you know. So, like I was saying, Governor Snyder of Michigan, he took over towns like Benton Harbor and, of course, Detroit, and reconstituted the city and all that kind of stuff, you know, city manager or something. But this was going to happen to Gary at some point. Gary's probably going to be taken over by the state or by the Lake County. That's if Gary continues to empty out, people move out, die out, whatever. People don't move into Gary, and they don't have a tax base. The tax base continues to roll, and here we are. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It is what it is. But I mean, there's probably 100,000 African Americans. I'm just talking about African Americans now, because that's the people I know. So-called Negroes, so-called blacks, who would move to Gary, or because a lot of African Americans have moved from the city of Chicago to Indiana, but they ain't moving to Gary. But people would move to Gary. But most African American neighborhoods or towns, suburbs or a town like Gary, when you have a large African American population, what you have is African American young men, you know, 15 to 25 or 30, and they commit crimes. And that crime is that people say, no, either I'm not going to move there, or I'm moving out of that city or that suburb or a town like Gary because of the crime. And businesses are not, you know, businesses like, you know, liquor stores and gas stations and corner stores and dollar stores, they'll move here But, you know, regular stores are not going to do it. And listen, you know, a lot of stuff is online now. That's a whole nother ballgame. Retail ain't what it used to be even 10, 20 years ago. But what I'm saying, though, is that the people, even the hotels and other businesses, are not going to move here because of the crime. Because of the crime. Because of the crime. So when you have a large African-American town like Gary, or suburb, or whatever, small town, suburb, or town like Gary, the crime, you need jobs, and you need good schools, and it's a vicious cycle. What do you need first? The values or the jobs? The values or the jobs. If you have the values, you have the jobs. Values mean, like, when you have a young boy, you make sure your boy who grows up to be a teenager and a man, make sure he has a work ethic. Make sure he's educated, or he has a skill. He's a carpenter, electrician, plumber, HCAV, you know, do heating and cooling and stuff. I mean, it's very basic, people. So a town like Gary, a black suburb, a predominantly black suburb like Ferguson or whatever, it comes down to raising children, people. Raising children. Raising children. It takes a cultural movement. We're coming into downtown Gary, Indiana. Yes, I am in Indiana. But you need a cultural movement. Of course, the cultural movement does need resources. Yes, you have to have resources. You need resources, I get it. But African Americans, it's a group. You know, Elijah Muhammad, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey, and a lot of the black leaders back in the day told African Americans to pool their pennies, nickels, and dimes and put their money together and develop an economic base. Developing the economic base is something that black leaders don't do. They say pray and vote. And I'm not saying you shouldn't pray and you shouldn't vote. And you should vote in every election. Okay, I get that. But African American leaders, they wanted integration, they wanted assimilation, and the reality is that majority of African Americans are not going to fully integrate and fully assimilate. They may partially assimilate and partially integrate, but not fully. It's not going to happen. It hasn't happened in 450 years. Come on, people. Just get this straight. But so the leaders like Elijah Muhammad, most honorable Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey, they told African Americans to pool their pennies, nickels, and dimes and develop an economic base. That's something our leadership because our leadership is about integration, which is fine. It's about assimilation, which is okay, but it leaves the poor African Americans in the lurch. I'm sorry, we missed that shot there. Okay. That's the famed Genesis Convention Center. Y'all talk about Donald Trump. Can you imagine years ago, it's been a few years, Donald Trump bought his Miss USA, Miss America, one of them pageants right here to the Genesis Convention Center in Gary. Donald Trump. Donald Trump came to Gary. He came to Gary and he left. That's a cool building. That's City Hall. That's City Hall. But really cool buildings. And so, but Donald Trump came to back in the day, came and did what he had to do and moved on. Donald Trump. He ain't gonna be president. Don't worry about it, people. But see, this was so cool. What's so cool about, I can zoom in on this statue. That's what they're trying to do on this statue. It's a Statue of Liberty right here. Look at that. Let me zoom in. I gotta hold the camera here. Statue of Liberty right there in downtown Gary. And you see the train, where the train at? That's the South Shore Line, you know, it comes right from downtown Chicago right here. You're only 30 miles away from downtown Chicago to Gary. So Gary has a lot of potential, but nobody wants to move to a predominantly black town with crime. And you stop the crime by making sure black boys can read and write in grade level. Make sure black boys have a work ethic. Be educated, have a work ethic, and a damn skill. Like I said, carpenter, plumber, electrician. This ain't rocket. Work on cars. Damn, people, this is easy. But it is easy theoretically. Hey, I've raised children. You probably raised children. It's really hard to raise children because you try to lay a foundation. You try to give them the values and structure and motivation. Of course, then they around other folks who got their peers and whatnot. You have a lot of control of your children when they're small, but as they get older, the peers take over. And you got to watch who your children's friends are. I'm telling you, you really do.